Welcome to Less is More Coaching podcast and videocast on mancavepodcasting.com, on Clubhouse, and online. We are on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook ×5. And welcome. Today we are going to be discussing the second half of the second law, critical law of relationships. We started this last week. And last week, we discussed the law of agreement. And this week, we are discussing the law of access, the unspoken rules both to access and to remain in relationship. And I just want to take a quick moment to do a quick shout out to the people that are here in Clubhouse. Welcome, Lois. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the podcast / videocast.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm just hanging out, waiting to hear what we've got to say here.
Awesome. Well, and welcome, Chandel. Remember, there are unspoken rules, both to access and to remain in relationships. And yesterday we had a little bit of fun just chatting about some of those unspoken rules. And we started by looking at, there are three types of relationships in this particular way. And there are three types of individuals in your life. Yesterday people, those from your past who continually try to drag you into your past. There are the today people, those who are willing to accept you in the state where they first met you and have some role to play in helping you fulfill your present assignment. And then there are the future bearers, the tomorrow people, those who are undeniably tied to helping you enter your future. They have been where you want to go. They are the only ones who can take you into a better tomorrow. Other terms given to these types of individuals are mentor, coach, father, pastor, and teacher. Very few individuals ever access future bearers because, quite frankly, the qualifications are very, very high. Every relationship is moving you either towards or away from the fulfillment of God's purpose for your life. You must choose each relationship wisely and refuse to compromise the set of standards that govern your life. So we talked about protocol. Protocol was a term given to the rules that govern how to enter and how to remain in any relationship. Protocol is a term given to the rules that every environment and every relationship has unspoken rules. When you go to a foreign country, you get briefed on the protocol of that particular country. In certain countries, you cannot walk behind a dignitary, for instance. You have to walk in front of him. In other countries, it's a blatant sign of disrespect if you walk in front of a dignitary. If you have ever achieved greatness in his sight, maybe you could walk alongside him, but you never walk in front of him. So protocol is different the world over. Never allow the invitation of intimacy to be destroyed by the contempt of familiarity. In other words, never take a relationship for granted, because in doing so, you allow a very important relationship to become too familiar. This happens when you stop esteeming your relationships as valuable. And yesterday we discussed the fact that, for me, I'm married for the fourth time, and I still have my dating coach who set me on the right path to find this amazing miracle of a woman called Kristen, my miracle wife. And I have him holding me accountable still to this day to make sure I'm dating my wife. So for me, that really is making sure that every day doesn't become so familiar that I don't date my wife anymore. So I'm just going to take a moment because I think this is a great place to just kind of check in with our guests and see how they view familiarity in relationships, and if they have an experience where familiarity killed the relationship, or they had to adjust the familiarity along the way to take the relationship to the next level. And for those of you that are online, go ahead and put your comments in the chat if you have any questions. And Lois, what are your thoughts about familiarity?
It's funny because I've been together with my husband coming up to our 33rd anniversary this May. Yeah. It's a lot of hard work, but we were together since we were kids. So
wow.
We just started learning how to communicate, and we're still working on it, right? So we just fumbled through life raising children and didn't really pay a lot of attention to the intricacies of our relationship until the kids were grown. And then we kind of had to start dealing with them, and we still do. So we're working through that, but it takes time.
It's really, it's very interesting. And now I'm going to say something that's in the next chapter of this law of access, is discerning the correct posture. And the author, Dr. Rob Thompson, goes, I've discovered that one of the most important aspects in the arena of relationship is the way that I posture myself with others. This positioning will be different in every association you have. To posture correctly, you must know who you are called to be in any given relationship. If you are postured incorrectly, you and those around you will not gain any benefit from the relationship. And, as I've been reading this book, I've been thinking in two ways, right? I've been thinking along the terms of business relationship, and I've been thinking in terms of romantic relationship. Why? Because to me, I believe that there's a lot of synchronicity, and there's a lot of things we take for granted in business relationships, and we take for granted in romantic relationships, that I believe that and some of what we're going to talk about is this: if we didn't take it for granted, and we knew that every moment we were speaking to our most important client, our relationships in other areas at work would increase, our relationship at home with our significant other would increase, and our relationship with our kids. Go ahead, Lois. I see you flashing.
I'm clapping. I'm a continuous clapper.
Awesome. Well, just make sure that you can just chime in if you do want to add anything at any time. Don't be afraid on this. The way I have an open book. So
no worries. I've got limited communication right now.
Okay, no problem. Even if a person is my peer and equal, I choose to assume, this is coming from Dr. Rob, the role of a servant. Rather than serving in the same way I serve those above me, I serve them with my love, support, encouragement, openness, and fellowship. Then there are those whom God has placed under my authority. I'm called to speak into their lives. I am not there to be their friend, but to teach them, train them, and lead them. Now, for me, I look at this and I am one of these rebels. I look at the fact that even if I'm a teacher, even if I'm a subordinate or I'm superior, I believe that having love and friendship is the key to success. Now, this is me personally, and I know there's a lot of people that like to have this don't mix business with pleasure. And I'm like, if life were all about dollar bills, maybe that's one way to do it. But for me, life is about the relationships every single day. It's about the conversation that I had that I can remember 20 some years ago with a janitor at the place that I worked at for 23 years, $1 billion liquor company. And I had a conversation with him. His name was Dennis. And the life advice that he gave me in that moment, I will never forget. And it was, Les, he said, if you always continue to work as hard as I've seen you work the past decade, you will be successful. Now, I can't tell you when, and it may not be for a long time, and it may not even be success in money. I can tell you, though. And this was coming from a janitor. And I looked at him and I said, so what makes you say this? He said, well, let's take a look at something. And he said, you've known me for 10 years. I've known you for 10 years. I've been at this company for 15 plus years. You are the first person who I know. I know your family. You know my family. And there's something that I want to share with you today to have you realize you never know who you're talking to. And, he wasn't being arrogant or he was being very humble as he was saying this. He had a brown bag that his lunch and dinner was in, and he was sitting down eating, and he asked me if I had time to sit down and chat. And he said, you've heard of that book, The Millionaire Next Door, right? I said, oh yeah, read it. He says, well, I read that when I was a kid. And I am one of those people. And I went, what? Because I knew how much money he made. We talked about it. It was in the mid 40s. And I'm like, and his wife was a nurse. And so she was back then in the 50s. He goes, Les, I've done very well. I've been very cautious with my money my whole life. We've never been extravagant. And I now have the privilege and the benefit, and my wife does, is every 3 years I get a new car. Every 3 years she gets a new car. Our daughter has just finished up her 4th year of college with no loans, all paid for. And it was paid.
That's nice.
Yeah. And it was paid for not just by us, but we matched every dollar that she made. And at the end, we had to add a little bit more because we just didn't want to do any loans. And I bring my dinner. And if you look at many other janitors, you look at many other employees that would be in my stead, they're eating out. They're buying junk food. I'm eating a meal that's a part of 5 meals my wife makes on Sunday, and I have 5 servings to eat 5 lunches. And I'm just sitting here in awe. And I learned from him that he sacrificed a lot to live frugally, even at his income. And he was very, very, very smart. I mean, he read the paper while he ate his dinner, normally, except for when I'm chatting with him. And he had learned, and he had a good broker, and he had learned invest wisely and had been doing so for a long, long time. And you would never have known it. And there were over 300 employees there, and I'm the one that he knew. Now, he knew some of the others because they were semi-polite. But as it comes to really knowing, he goes, this is why you're going to be successful, Les. and don't ever stop. So for me, to truly give or receive in relationship is a gift. And I believe it's, as they say, why access is granted into a relationship. When you choose to bring pleasure to those who are important to your life, and rather than being one of these people that is a prodigal, and we just defined this yesterday, because in a relationship, you're either going to be a prodigal or a protege. In order to access the great, you must posture as a protege. Now, a prodigal is a person who is in a relationship only to take. They're unwilling or unable to contribute life to the relationship, but rather they are what I like to call relational vampires. They suck the life out of the relationship. In studying how people interact with one another, Rob has observed that in each and every one of us has to be cautious of these so-called prodigals. These prodigals display very distinct motives and behaviors, which, we're going to be examining over the next few weeks. And it's a person who's in, as I said, in a relationship only to take whatever is available for the taking. Prodigals do not add value to the relationship, but rather they leave a bitter aroma of pain and brokenness. So I just want to take a moment to just see if the conversation of a prodigal is understood as we move on here, to make sure. And I guess the best way to look at it, I definitely have, and Lois, you'll probably laugh at this, I've definitely had some prodigal people here on Clubhouse.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I have been through the ringer with it, but if the passion and the purpose is important enough, you stick with it, right? If the relationship you have is important enough, you stick with it.
Yep, exactly. And for me, here's the thing about it is I look at it this way, and I'm a Christian, and I'm happy to share that. I don't hold it over anybody. I love people. I don't care what faith you are. It doesn't offend me to be in conversation or ever with another person of another faith. And I can tell you this, though. I know that when I put my faith in God, prodigals will come and go.
Yes.
And I've stopped letting them impact and stop me. So with that, I'm just going to just say hello and pass the mic around and see if you have a prodigal in your life, and how can you be accountable for that now that you've heard this whole piece about it. Perhaps you'd like to share about it. Lois, go ahead.
Well, I don't have somebody particularly right now in my life that's like that, because the relationships that I have in my life now are the ones that, it's a give and take. It's not always 50-50. Sometimes it's 80-20, then it's 20-80, but you're always making sure that there's some movement forward, right? Even if it's, 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, you're still a step forward. So I've learned to kind of let those relationships that they come and go, if they're not important, if they weren't as important to me, to them, how am I saying this? If I wasn't as important to them as they were to me, then I have to let that go. If they're not putting in what, a relationship requires, and they want to go, they go, right? They come in and out, or I let them go, because it's not worth it when you're not receiving, right?
Yep.
There's a give and take in relationships, and if you're always giving and there's no exchange, then you've got to let those people flow through your life. It's hard to do, though, sometimes.
Amen. Amen to that. Almadada Hassan, welcome. Thank you for being here.
How are you, Mr. Coach?
I'm doing phenomenal. I just want to make sure that you can, if you choose to be a part of the conversation, you may. If you have any prodigals in your life.
Actually, I understand everything, but I don't know the actual meaning of prodigals. Can you spell it for me?
Yes. So a prodigal. So I'm going to give you a few examples of what a prodigal. Some of the attributes or tendencies of a prodigal person. A prodigal wants you to have, but they're unwilling to pay the same price to obtain it. They are interested in what you do for your influence and your reputation, and they are there solely to get from you. They're not there to give you anything. They just want to get it from you. A prodigal wants you to continually recognize and praise them for their achievements, but they're not interested in celebrating yours. A prodigal believes you're in their life to meet their needs, but they're not there to meet yours. They are looking for credibility rather than instruction or correction. A prodigal embraces your enemies, but still wants to be your friend. And a prodigal will use any knowledge to manipulate and use you. A prodigal will leave the moment he's received what he or she has received, what he or she believes they need. And a prodigal will get angry with you for attempting to correct them.
Yes, I understand you. They are like people who care all about themselves.
Yes.
And actually, I don't have this type of people in my life, and I hope that I will not meet any type of these people.
Good for you. That's excellent. That I'm very happy for you that that's the case. Well, good. Well, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you taking a moment to answer that question. We're now going to talk a little bit about proteges. So a true protege is a person that is like a son, looking to sow his life into the one who is called to lead him or her. Proteges understand that no seed can ever produce a harvest unless it dies and is planted into good ground. Therefore, you must choose to lay your life down in service to the esteemed man or woman to whom you were called. A true protege, as I said, knows he must demonstrate the following 10 qualities in order to be granted access to the great relationship. So the first is pursuit. A prodigal wants the mentor to pursue him or her. A protege makes it his aim to pursue his mentor. The reward of any relationship is determined by the value that is placed upon it. The protege places a tremendous amount of value.
I understand that Protege is a good person.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
It is like someone who try to help you, or like a sun in your life. Something is shining in your life, if I'm correct.
Yes. A protege is. Yep.
It's like my mother. It is a great person who supports me in my life, actually.
Yes. Yep, I've been blessed with my stepmother and my mother. Both have done a good job of that. This,
That is awesome.
yeah, I've been very blessed. So
You know, in Egypt, if you have a stepmother, the, most of the time there's no good relationship.
really,
Most of the time, not all people, you know.
and is that because of some traditions, do you think, or just because that's what they fall into?
Actually, you know, like in Egypt, I think in United States or Christian people don't marry two women in the same time, you know.
No.
But in Egypt, we can marry two women. So he like divided his time. The father divided his time with the first women and the second women. So you know, there's some type of
Jealousy.
you know, hating produced because second women don't love the first women. Something like this. I hope that you understand me.
Yes, very well. Very well. So there are 10 characteristics to be a protege. The first was pursuit. The second is respect. Respect is magnetic. It will attract people while disrespect repels them. A prodigal respects with his words, but not with his heart. A protege lets his actions be the spokesperson of his heart. Respect is the key that opens the door of access to a fantastic relationship. The third is honor. Honor is the gate through which all godly relationships enter. When you honor someone, you are placing value upon him or her. Honor is making a commitment to always value and respect someone. Without a doubt, the concept of honor is the single most important principle that Dr. Rob knows for building healthy relationship. Is not only the foundation of all successful relationships, but it lies at the heart of every successful individual. God tells us and has told humanity for thousands of years to honor others. He promised us that if we honor, then we would live a long life full of blessings. I'm not sure about us, but I really, really, really want us to get that. And I really want honor in my life. The Hebrew word for honor is kabed. It literally gives a picture of heaviness, of weightiness. To honor is to give great weight, importance, worth, and significance to something or someone. On the contrary, the word dishonor gives us a picture of something light and trivial, one of mist or steam. When you honor people, you're conveying them that they hold a certain weight in your heart. Learn how to honor others, especially those above you. Find out what pleases them and become what they need for you to become. Being honorable is so important. There is no greater way of honoring a mentor than bowing your knee for the sole purpose of bringing them pleasure. Wow.
is it? Do you read from certain book or
Yes. Yes.
is only?
It's a book called The 10 Critical Laws of Relationship.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yep. I will. You know what I was going to do, and I forgot to do it, but I'll do it right now, is take a picture of the cover and put it in my bio so you can see it.
For a moment, I think that you read like from a Bible or a thing like this.
There it is. And it's interesting because he talks about God in here, but he doesn't talk about a specific God, right? He talks about God in general.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
You write in your bio that you are like have some concerns with business.
Yes. I am a business coach, and I work with people to take their business from where it's at and take it and level it up with a higher degree of integrity around communication and relationships and accountability.
So I want to ask you for advice for me. I am a student, and I can't work for full time. So if you can recommend any work or anything that I can learn and get money from it.
Yeah, why don't I send you my contact information, and why don't we schedule some time on Zoom, and we'll go ahead and chat and see how I can support you and what I can support you with.
Thank you for this.
Yeah, no worries. I do. It's one of the gifts that I give to people that follow me on Clubhouse. I usually have anywhere from 6 to 10 meetings a week where I coach people for free, and just share with them ideas for their business. And sometimes down the road it turns into business, or they know somebody, or they refer somebody. So I am always giving.
Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Thank you, actually.
Yep, I will put it there right now before I forget. There you go. And if we need more time, we'll schedule more time, but that's you'll see that is that goes straight to my calendar, and it's easier to find a spot for 15 than it is for 30 or an hour.
Yes.
All right. So what's that?
The problem with me that I don't know, I don't have a certain idea about the business that I want to do. So I want to have like an idea or a thing that I can do from like online working only, because I can't work manually because of my study.
Understood. We'll find something.
I hope.
There's always room. There's always room.
Yes.
Even here on Clubhouse.
Yes.
So
the only skill that I have that I can speak English. My mother tongue is Arabic, but I speak English. I don't know if I speak English very good, but I speak a little bit, and I know something about video editing, but I don't know how to start.
Well, perfect, because I know a couple people that have created businesses doing video editing. So if I can't answer your question or come up with something, we may be able to get one of them to jump in and share a few ideas.
Thank you for this. Do you know any people work with translation? Because I think it is more easy.
I do know a couple, but it's they don't pay as well as they do for video editing. Because there's a lot of there's a lot of them.
Yes, but the problem with me that my laptop is, don't have a high qualification that qualified for a good work,
Ah, okay.
So I think it will be a problem. So I like thinking and starting with translation and have good money for buying a new laptop. So I want to start with translation, but I don't found a suitable way to start.
We will we'll take a look and see what's available when we get together on that call.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, the third key to a protege is honor. When you honor someone, you're placing value upon him or her. Honor is, as we said, is the gate through which all godly relationships enter. When you honor people, you are conveying to them that they hold a certain weight in your heart. You're communicating to them that they are valuable to you. When you honor someone, you treat the relationship lightly, suggesting that they are neither valuable nor insignificant. Learning how to honor others, especially those above you, find out what pleases them and become what they need for you to become. Being honorable is so important. There's no greater way of honoring a mentor. The fourth step is attitude. Put simply, relationships just work better when you're happy. A good attitude goes a long way toward building lasting relationships. I mean, nobody wants to be around a person harboring a bad attitude, do they? Nope. The fact is, the friendlier you are, the more you are going to have people who want to pursue long-lasting, mutually beneficial relationships with you. Encourage yourself. Put on a smile and speak only kind words to others. Treat people with a great deal of joyfulness. And you will see your relationships greatly improve. Nothing guarantees failure or success like a person's attitude. Attitude is everything. Your attitude determines which path you're on as you move toward your future. An excellent attitude will set you on a path of favor, promotion, and success. A poor attitude will lead you down the path of compromise, loss, and defeat. In a society where the outcome of our lives can at times appear to rest so heavily on the decisions of others, there's only one area. In society, where the outcome of our lives can at times appear to rest so heavily on the decisions of others, there is one area that only you can change. No one can make you have a poor attitude, and no one can force you to have a good one. When it comes to your attitude, it is entirely up to you. Access is granted to those who exhibit a consistently great attitude. And that is so powerful because everybody wants to include somebody that's in a good mood. Your attitude in life will determine your altitude in life. What do you think about attitude as you're listening? What do you think about attitude? And then there's attention. Knowing how to invest your time and attention will give you access to the great. We must stop spending time and start investing time. And I think one of the things that we can expect here I'm just firing up attention. Knowing how to invest your time and attention will give you access to the great. In this rat race world, time has become a person's most valuable commodity. It is also the element that puts all of us on the same playing field. We're given 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. What we focus on in each 24-hour period will determine the outcome of our lives. A true servant gladly abandons all personal pleasure in order to become a tool in the hand of the one he serves. A prodigal is interested in the details of his own life. A protege is interested in the details of another. So paying attention to another. When you pay attention to the smallest of details, you will never fail in the big assignments of life. A protege looks to follow the instruction of his mentor is very attentive to instruction, however small it might be, making sure to do all that is asked of him. We must never allow the ones we are pursuing to be forced to look in another direction for the solution to their problem. That is our ticket. That is our place, not somebody else's. So as we look at this, also next, number 6 is a gift. Your seed and skill. Ponder this for a moment. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Your gifts will open doors for you But you must also remember that the only gifts that will ever be remembered will be the gifts with the individual wanted. Each and every person has something particular he and she wants. A prodigal wants to exploit the mentor's gifts and skills to become great. A protege wants to develop his gifts and skills to the end that his mentor would be great. Number 7, obedience. The proof of real love will be evident in a person's actions, not his words. You must always be willing to prove everything you say by backing it up with your actions. The crown of a man's character and purpose is born the moment he realizes his duty to obey. A prodigal wants the mentor to embrace and approve the decisions that he has made. A protege wants to make the decisions that are recommended by the mentor. Being obedient. The 8th aspect is a desire to please. A protege always has a desire to please. The one to whom you've been assigned is the 8th attribute and will qualify you for access to an amazing relationship. People always gravitate toward the person who is trying to please them. When you become passionate about pleasing those with whom you have relationship, you're paving the path to promotion and success. Said another way, I'm not a man pleaser, I'm a God pleaser. I understand what you're saying, but I don't please a man for the sake of that man. I please man because that pleases God. Of course, I do this within the boundaries of integrity and divine principle. I chose long ago, says Dr. Rob, to please my superiors in everything. I want to be pleasing to them. I can't imagine them wanting me around if I wasn't. I never want them to say, gosh, I wish you would do more. A prodigal concentrates on surpassing the mentor, while a protege concentrates on pleasing his mentor. The greatest power gratitude possesses is its inability to remain hidden. Out of a heart brimming with gratitude, the protege studies how he can please others. He does his research so that he can surpass his mentor's expectations before even being asked. He understands that when he joyfully gives his mentor more than he requires, he will be invited to a deeper level of intimacy. A desire to give is number 9. The attribute of giving is fundamental to healthy relationships. Motivational speaker, my mentor, Zig Ziglar, frequently says you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want out of life. The concept he is talking about is one of having a heart and life that is focused on serving other people. The Bible puts it this way: consider others' interests as more important than your own. The concept that Zig was talking about is one of having a heart and life that is focused on serving other people. The Bible puts it another way: consider others' interests as more important than your own. It's from 11 Philippians 2:4. A prodigal asks, what can I get out of this relationship? A protege proceeds from, what can I put into this relationship? To, what is my mentor getting out of his relationship with me? The desire to give is partnered with the desire to please. A grateful heart is the author of both desires because gratitude for the blessings one has been given compels a person to give to others and to seek to please. Show me a stingy, selfish person, and I'll show you a person who has forsaken a grateful heart. The first thought that enters the mind of most people when faced with a new situation is, how is this going to affect me? If they determine that they will be inconvenienced or required to do something unpleasant, they refuse to become involved. Sadly, we live in a very self-indulgent society. And even good people can become self-protective and tight-fisted with their time and resources. A prodigal takes this selfishness one step further and purposefully maneuvers to defraud someone. A prodigal takes a selfish step one step further and purposefully maneuvers to defraud someone with a calculating and a manipulating motive. He doesn't just aim for a win-win situation. He wants an I win, you lose outcome. Giving into the relationship doesn't even cross his mind. He's too consumed with his own self-importance. The person that a mentor is searching for is someone who takes no thought. What you make happen for someone else, God will make happen for you. Wow. I love that. Welcome, Clayton.
Good afternoon, Coach.
How are you, sir?
Literally just leaving work.
All right. Well, you'll be able to catch about 5 minutes of the last of the law of access, what it is to be a protege. There are 10 things, and I'll review them as soon as I've spoken the last one.
Sounds good.
All right. The person that a mentor is searching for is someone who takes no thought for himself when confronted with new or challenging situations. He or she is looking for a protege whose first impulse is to contribute and pour value into the situation. Someone who is thinking about the cost to others instead of the cost to himself. Mentors and fathers are searching for cheerful givers, not stingy takers. Therefore, understand that what you make happen for someone else, God will make happen for you. Choose to be a giver and find out what you can bring to the table in your relationship with your mentors. Choose yourself to be generous and continually sow into their lives. Remember the seed. Number 10. Value. One of the most important things about building critical, excellent relationships is realizing that other people are valuable. Dr. Rob Thompson's focus should not be on how valuable he considers himself to be and how he expects everyone else to appreciate his value. The principle of value tells me that I need to value others. I need to value their place, their position, and their contribution. This is especially true as concerns those who are over me and have the responsibility of advising, warning. The principle of value, if honored, will protect your future. Whether you like it, to think about it or not, a day will come when you will be faced with a question that you cannot answer. If you've never sown into someone wise enough to answer. Let's just say you've invested the time to recognize a mentor or a spiritual father and have pursued his wisdom and admonition. You've sown into his life and shown him value, respect, love, and faithfulness. You have reassured him of your servant's heart and proven your loyalty again and again, continually posturing yourself as a student and a son and demonstrating how important he is to you. And now your need comes to the surface. Your giant, the same one he faced years ago, has come now. Well. So that ends the top 10 things about a protege. And I'm just going to go back and share what they are. A true protege knows he must demonstrate the following 10 qualities in order to be granted access to the great relationship. 1 is pursuit. 2 is respect. 3 is honor. 4 is attitude. 5 is attention. 6 is a gift, your seed and skill. 7 is obedience. 8 is a desire to please. 9 is a desire to give. And number 10 is value. And with that, hello, Michael. I'm going to be closing down the podcast. We've gone 59 minutes. And I just want to say thank you to those of you that are listening. Thank you, Clayton, for popping in. Michael, thank you for stopping in. Appreciate you, Michael Cohen. And look forward to getting to know you. Any comments, Clayton, on what it is to be a protege to somebody that you might know about?
Well, Coach, I missed something that sounds like it would have benefited me a lot, but nevertheless, I think the true protege is a sponge. You become a sponge. You soak in. I know that in biblical times when you'd have your rabbi, you'd follow around your rabbi. You'd do everything they do. You'd mimic them. So to hear what you've just read, to pour into your rabbi, to also become a...
Thank you, Clayton. I appreciate that. And you will have access, by the way, you will have access to this faith next piece, and you will have access to the replays. So enjoy the replays because they're great. And as we go through this, I think this is fantastic. So with that, I just want to say mancavepodcasting.com. Less is more coaching, podcast, videocast. I want to thank you for stopping by. I see you have a phone call too. I just want to say thank you to those that have watched this online and really appreciate this and look forward to next week when we will take on why access remains. To be granted access is one thing, but to keep the door of access open is a whole new challenge. Don't pursue access unless you're committed to maintain the relationship, for maintenance is by far the most difficult and crucial test of your commitment. You must continue to qualify for your mentor's time. We'll be taking on those aspects next week of 6 aspects. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here.